Okay, welcome back to the Mo Mayor podcast. Today we have another D1 basketball player on. Julia, if you want to introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Hi, I'm Julia Corsentino. I play Division One basketball at Marist University, and I'm a sophomore.
Okay, perfect. So just have some questions for you today regarding basketball at Marist, kind of how you got there and kind of how you handle that at school and just a bunch of questions I have. So
hmm
I'm going to start with the first question. So what does basketball mean to you? What does it mean to you in your life, and how has it played a huge role in your life?
I feel like I could just say I remember having a ball in my hand, even if it was just like in my backyard, from like the moment I was active and stuff. And it's just something that like almost keeps me like my mental state good because it's an outlet from school and like, everything. And it just is something that from day to day makes me happy. So that's pretty much what I can say about it.
Okay. So why so you go to Marist, you play D1 basketball there at Marist. So why did you choose Marist? Why not another school? What about Marist appealed to you the most over another school?
Yeah. Well, the recruiting process was really hectic, and you get to see all these sides of different coaches, and you see these rosters. And what my main thing was somewhere where I could play and actually be an impact on the team because basketball, obviously, there's five players on the court. So with my coaching staff, I knew they cared about me as more than a player. And I just knew that with the school, like my dad went here and just the community here, I knew that I would fit in, and with the offense, especially.
So what about like the offense would you say would you fit in
Well,
for?
we
Like
do like a
shooting?
motion offense.
Okay.
And also set plays, but like I love motion offense because as a shooter, you can like go off a screen and just a quick release, or if they're overplaying you, you cut back door. So just the different reads to like score, really was an appeal to me.
Okay. So what other colleges had interest in you? So like what other schools were looking like, hey, come play for us?
Um, Thinking back, it was another two other MAC schools, so Manhattan and Niagara. So they're both in our conference. I spoke to Sacred Heart too, which they were in the NEC at the time. Um, FDU wanted me to. A lot of different leagues, like the highest being probably Patriot League MAC. But yeah, that's pretty much what I can remember. There was a lot of other schools, but like those were the tops that I was considering.
Okay. So when you're competing at such a high, this is probably the second highest level of basketball you can get, which is Division
Mhm.
One sports aside from pro basketball. When you compete at the high level, when you did that in high school, was it weird for you to compete because you were, I guess you could say, so much better than probably some of your other opponents? Was it weird to like come down the court and see a girl who maybe doesn't do what you do with the basketball or off the ball,
Yeah.
on the ball, and stuff like that?
Mhm.
And how did that switch once you got to Marist?
Well, it was such a change because in high school, like you said, like you could literally probably score 20 just from driving to the basket or stealing it from someone who doesn't even play. To transition into everyone was the best player on their team is a huge change because you're not used to it at all. And then you have to figure out how you can adjust with that and not feel bad about yourself, like, oh, I'm not doing what I used to in high school, but like figuring out that like that's what you're gonna do here. Like you're not gonna score 20 a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so then how do you guys, because I'm sure everyone on that team
Mhm.
was that guy or that
Mm,
girl in high school.
yeah.
Like how do you guys like comes down to it, like game winning shot, or just like is it just whoever has it going that night, or is it like
Yeah.
someone's always gonna get like a set shot at the end of the game?
Well, it's kind of like who's on that night, and also like as you grow up or grow older on college teams, like you get more trust. So like there are girls on my team who like will have that game-winning shot just based off of like their shooting percentage, because sometimes coaches have to look at stats, you know what I mean? Even though we're all capable, like just sometimes it's going to be a coaching decision right on the fly. So you have to earn that with coaches as you grow up.
Okay, that's fair. So
Mhm.
like I want to talk about your division of basketball because it's March and it's coming down.
Yeah.
So are you guys are still obviously competing to get a spot in the
Yeah.
tournament. Where what are
Mhm.
you guys looking at right now, division wise?
So basically, in the MAC, we're ranked fifth. So we get a bye first round, which is huge for us. Thinking of the leap we took last year, we were like literally 11th seed. We're fifth now. So we had a huge change this year. Our biggest challenge would be if we get to the finals, we have to play Fairfield, which they're 18 and 0 this season. Have a lot of big time players, but that's our main goal to just beat Fairfield and get to obviously the NCAA tournament.
So last year you said you were 11th, and this year you are now fifth. So
Yeah.
obviously huge improvement, and I'm sure
Yeah.
next year and the year after that you're looking to make even bigger strides for it.
Yeah.
Well, what would that experience be like if you did get to play in March Madness?
Honestly,
what would that be
that's
like?
yeah, I mean, you've known me my whole life, so it's like we've been watching this forever. Like that's the coolest thing. Like even at like summer basketball camp, like we were seeing all these like Big East teams, like just getting a chance to even be in the same environment as that would be huge for me because like you just want to be at the next level all the time when you play this league at this league.
hmm So, what would you say? Because now you're a sophomore. Sophomore season's basically kind of almost over. Not really. You're kind of
Mhm.
getting into the most important part of the season, but now basically 2 full years on the team. What would you say was the hardest thing that you had to come to terms with?
Yeah.
Playing with them, playing for Marist, and then what's the easiest thing that you had to come to terms with for playing with them?
Definitely my scout defense was a huge struggle for me. And I'll be so honest because I never even did that in high school. I would just go out and face guard the best player or whatever. We have to run through the other team's plays and basically defend to like a T, like a perfect way that the coaches want you to. So just understanding that like what I think is right in my head and what's natural isn't what the coaches want me to do. So that took me a while to understand that. But now that I'm finally getting it, it just gives you more playing time. They trust you more. The easiest thing I would say is when they have trust in you as a shooter, like they'll give you the green light. So for me, like they want me to shoot the ball. So when I'm in, I know I can shoot.
Okay. So,
Hmm.
like, obviously, you had the green light probably all of high school. And then now you
Hmm.
have the green light here still, but I know the green light probably changes a little bit from high school as to where you could dribble up the court and shoot one
Hmm.
at the top of the key, and your coach is
Yeah.
kind of like, whatever. That line's farther back now, and like you have a lot of more other teammates that could probably do the same thing, which is just shoot the ball whenever they want to. So, how does the green light differ from high school and college?
Yeah, it goes into knowing like your shot selection. So like when you're open, you know you have to shoot that because if not, you're just gonna dribble and then keep running the play. So like knowing when you're in the right spot in the right position, you have to fire that or you're gonna come out. Like you have to know when to shoot. Whereas it's like high school, like you said, you can go down and like maybe take a bad shot and it goes in. They're like, "Oh, great," but that's not what we wanted in college. You know what I mean?
hmm So, what was your, just gonna go back now, what was your experience like in high school playing basketball? So, like,
Mhm.
because I know you had to switch schools. So, like, how was that experience for you?
So I played I obviously lived in Westfield in middle school and elementary school, grew up playing with the same travel team, and then I moved to the shore, like Rumson Fairhaven, and that actually was one of the best things that happened to me basketball wise because the Shore Conference is like the best conference you can play in New Jersey. And it showed me that I wanted to play college basketball. It's just a completely different compete level there. Um, and just my high school coach gave me full confidence, full green light. The moment I stepped on the court freshman year, I started and I got the chance to just be me. So it was like helped me grow as a player.
Okay. So, the next question I have is what is the difference? Because some people like to say that maybe there's not a difference in Division One, Two, and Three
Hmm.
basketball or any sport for that matter. What's the difference if you know the difference between because you're playing at the highest level possible.
Hmm.
So what's the difference in like Division One to Division Three to Division Three? Like can you see that type of difference in
Yeah.
players?
I definitely can tell. It's just as a D3 player, you're still competing, you're still like playing games. It's just not as much preparation and not as much time putting into it. So like D3 players can like go home for a month or they can go home the whole summer, whereas we're in the gym. Even if it's an hour a day, we're still working every day. It's just more laid back, but you could just see through the competition level. It's just much different.
Okay, so speaking of like practicing, take me through like what a day looks like right now, which is like you're just coming
Mm,
from practice, like there's no game day. Take me
mhm.
through like a practice day in season, like maybe a practice day out of season, and then like a game day.
Okay, so in season practice days are a little bit hard for me because we wake up, I would probably wake up at like 8. They want you to do practice on the side too. So like sometimes we'll get shots up in the morning. You go to class, eat something, and then you kind of get to the gym like an hour or two before practice so that like you're kind of warmed up. We wrap our ankles, do treatment, and then practice starts 3:30, ends at 6:30, and then we'll lift 2 times a week in season so that you don't get too sore. And then we'll watch film for like 45 minutes, and that's every day before game days. And then out of season is a little bit more laid back, but we're lifting more at that moment. We're gonna do like we have hour practices, 30-minute conditioning, and then 30-minute lift. And then finally, game days are like the most fun for me personally because I don't take a class on game days because we've made our schedule like that. Um, we'll have shoot around from like 2 to 3. Then 3 o'clock we'll have pregame meal. It's like such a nice meal. We go to like the place across the street and eat a great meal. And then 5 o'clock comes around, we'll like shoot, warm ups, and then we play games. So it's a full day thing for that.
Hmm. Okay, so you mentioned like strength and conditioning and being in
Mhm.
the gym. So a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people just like to go out and play. Like they don't like the
Mhm.
aspect of getting into
Yeah.
the gym and actually lifting weights
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So why is getting into the gym and being able to lift weights and getting in there like what does that do to help improve your game and your mental?
Yeah, I actually noticed such a big improvement when I started lifting because you don't realize like how strong these girls are because I go from like playing girls to like these are like grown women. Like some of them are like 24 years old and I was coming in as an 18-year-old. Like even just lifting and just getting your strength up helps so much. Even like boxing out and like getting a rebound, you feel the strength. You feel like your vertical jump getting better. So that's a huge part for me because I wasn't that strong coming into it.
Hmm. Okay, so it's another thing I want to say and ask you is a lot of people also have this stigma around just women's basketball in general
Mhm.
that they only go to watch one women's player and they don't like to watch anybody else. Why should people watch women's basketball and not just that one player?
Yeah, I feel like I agree with you. Like, so many people are like, oh, Caitlin Clark, we watch because of her. But it's kind of it was eye-opening to the fact that, yes, she's amazing. But then I feel like from that, it built off of her and everyone got to show what they can do. And it kind of was an eye-opener to everyone that women's basketball isn't a joke and like, it's just as fun as watching like men's play. So I feel like yeah, it was kind of annoying that people are saying it was just because of her, but I feel like she actually helped everyone show what they can do.
Hmm. So that goes into my next question, which is kind of like it's kind of a funny questions, but like I have friends at school who can't play basketball like
Hmm.
at all. They think they can't do it, but they are convinced that they could play like against a D1 women's player.
Mm.
And obviously like I mean I play for fun, but like obviously I know that like there's a level of preparation that goes into it, like you've
Yeah.
said.
Hmm.
Like would you ever be like open to playing one of those kids that's just like I mean obviously not in season, but like
No,
if someone
100%
was
I
at the
would.
park and was like you know they weren't good, but they were like I think I could beat you, like it doesn't matter. Like I'm
Mhm.
sure that you're probably a little offended by that and you kind of
No,
like to
because
be proven
I
wrong.
don't find it's such a normal thing for a man or anyone to think that, but basketball's the type of thing like we train every day for it. We have everything, we work every day for it. So it's like maybe yes, he would be stronger, maybe a little faster, but we would still beat them at the end of the day. Like we have men practice players that just played in high school. It's even. Like we still beat them. So it's like you have to have the skill work down too. You know
Yeah,
what I
there's a
mean?
skill aspect to the game. You can't just
Yeah.
go up and shoot a basketball.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So when you're competing at that level, at like the D1 level, and there are other teams not from your conference and not from your conference, what are those non-conference games like compared to conference games? How do they differ?
The non-conference games were much harder for us because we were playing girls that were like bigger than us and like had better physicality than us because when you play like teams from we played a team from like the CAA. I think we played Drexel, which is actually in Philly, obviously.
Yeah, I know
Um,
Drexel.
yeah, I think they beat us by like 13 it was. It was just because we weren't ready for that physicality at the moment, but it's just different with the level of D1 you're gonna find. But it prepares us for the MAC.
Okay. So
Mhm.
what every school's got the one school that they have a rivalry with. What's the Marist rivalry like with another school? What would that
We
school be?
have We obviously want to beat Fairfield because they're the best team in the conference, but our rivalry right now would be Siena because they're in Albany. So it's like a very short ride and we've always like wanted to beat them. And actually this year we had like a bet with them. If they swept us, we had to light our rotunda like green for Siena. And we ended up losing, unfortunately, to them, but the men beat them and got to do like their thing red. So it's like a cool thing we have with them.
It's like friendly competition kind of
Yeah.
there.
Hmm.
Okay. So my next question has to do with like schoolwork and basketball. So how do you handle schoolwork, social life, basketball? Because
Yeah.
you're doing it at such a high level. How do you handle all of that? Especially when you say your game day is like a whole day thing.
Yeah.
What happens if you have a test like the next day? Like how do you handle schoolwork
Yeah.
and all that stuff?
It's hard, but another reason why I came to Marist is because we had like this academic advisor and like our coaching staff. It's like almost above basketball. Like they know that it's hard and like we'll have meetings with our academic advisor every week and she like helps us pick classes. We have free tutoring. Thank gosh for my team. Like if you have trouble with the class, you can just meet with a free tutor and like sit with them for an hour. And then freshman year we had mandatory study hall. So that helped me so much to like time manage because that's a huge part of it too. But it's kind of like up to you if you want to balance it. And thank gosh my whole team like cares so much. So it's a good environment to be in.
hmm So my next question is got to do with like the social aspect of it. So like
Hmm.
when you guys are in season, out of season, and you're putting in all this work and you're walking around campus and you're seeing all these other kids that are doing whatever on a Friday, Saturday night, and you can't do that because you got to be locked in on the next day or whatever for practice. Does that like how do you handle like those feelings? 'Cause I know everyone gets those feelings. It's like
Hmm.
a natural human thing. How do you handle that?
It's hard sometimes, I won't lie, like seeing everyone like get to do whatever they want sometimes, but the sacrifice I think is worth it at the end just of how much like I love to do what I do. But I was thankful in my freshman year, like we didn't room with basketball players, so I got to room with like a volleyball girl and then through that I met like my softball friends and tennis friends. So it's like we got to meet all these other people, so I was super thankful for that.
hmm So my next one would be how do you handle being, this is now your second year away from home. How do you handle being away from home and basketball and all that stuff? And like,
Mhm.
obviously, like I know you and I know your parents and everything. And, but like, I mean, I'm sure that they come and support you, but I'm sure sometimes it's tough being away from everything
Yeah.
so far.
So I will say the hardest thing for me was winter break. Like I won't even lie, it's a hard time because there's no one on campus except men's and women's basketball, and we're practicing every day, traveling. And my parents literally were like, "We'll come visit." Like it was great, but like you have to like I realized I was like, "Wow, like I'm very isolated from everything except basketball." So you kind of have to just like take what you have at the moment and just like go with it. But it's an adjustment at first, but you get used to it because the grind really takes up like most of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So going off of that, being alone, like only with your basketball team. So how does that help? That definitely helps you only being with the team. How does that help you guys in terms of like camaraderie and teamwork and stuff
Mhm.
like that on the court?
We made it like a huge deal this year, obviously, because we did not have a good year last year. We wanted to make it like a priority to do team bonding during winter break. So we like would do like movie nights or like plan a dinner, like just do fun things and find other hobbies that weren't practicing together. So it was fun this year because we all like actually came together and it just helped our chemistry on the court, I think.
So how many more games do you guys have left this year for
Hmm.
before the MAC? It's MAC, right?
Back tournament,
I'm
yeah. So
so
we go
used to
down.
the A10.
Yeah, we go down to Atlantic City and
Mhm.
10 teams from the MAC make it. So we have three more regular season games. I think we play Merrimack on Thursday, so we'll leave Wednesday night. But we have three more games and then we get a bye, so we have like possibly six more games.
Hmm. So how does the tournament work? So I know obviously all the tournaments are different. Like
Mhm.
because I go to St. Joe's, the A10 is every team gets
Yeah.
in, but most top four teams get a bye and all that crazy bye stuff. So how does the tournament work for that? Because I know things work differently for some different
Mm-hmm.
conferences.
So we just got two new teams being Sacred Heart and Merrimack. So that made the MAC have 12 teams. So only 10 teams go to the tournament. So the last two will get cut. Then top five get a bye first round. But that means that we're going to play the sixth seed first round, which I'm thinking will be Mount St. Mary's. And they're going to be tough. So that will be a good game.
So how many games would you have to win to win the conference in
I
total?
think three.
Three in the tournament?
Yeah, because we get the bye.
Okay. All right. That's just because I know a lot of conferences do it differently, so I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know how you guys worked.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just thankful we got the bye this year because you know how hard it is winning during we have a huge thing like our coaches are like it's March, like no one cares about your record at this point. Everyone is just leaving it all on the court. So just to have one less game in Atlantic City's huge.
So where do you guys play at in Atlantic City? What's the stadium?
It's like Joe Wallen boardwalk, so it's like a huge almost like convention center type thing. They set up like this MAC court for us. It's super
Mhm.
cool. It feels like almost like a stadium. And then like all the MAC schools, like cheerleaders and dance teams travel, so it's like really fun and a good environment.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So my next question is probably one of like the nearing the end of questions
Hmm.
here. But so when you go out and you travel, what's been like your favorite college to travel to? Like what's like what's the most fun atmosphere you've had to play in like on the road?
So, nicest school I've been to is Yale, but the best atmosphere I went to was St. John's. So, playing a Big East team was sick for me because obviously, like, I've never played in the Big East. So, it was just a huge environment. And, like, even you could tell by, like, the coaching staff of St. John's, it was just a completely different, like, level these coaches were on. Like, they knew our every move, every scout. It was just crazy to play against.
Did you guys win that game?
No, I think we lost by 20, which really, in the beginning of the season, playing St. John's just
That's a
was
tough
for, that's tough.
that's a tough
So,
game. Yeah, you need more time
hmm
to prep for something like that
yeah,
and more playing time
yeah.
under your belt.
But I was lucky that I actually played that game, I think a decent amount. Because we had to kind of go far into the bench because they were just super athletic.
Hmm.
So we kind of like played all of our like athletic guards.
Hmm. So last question, what's your most, I mean, because everyone has that one game that they always remember. So what's the
Hmm.
one game that you remember playing at Marist? Like what's your most memorable game so far? I mean, I know you're only not even halfway through your career
Hmm.
there at Marist, but like what's the game that stuck out to you the most?
Personally, like playing wise, I had one game last year against Lafayette where I got to play two former teammates from the shore, and I was 3 for 3 from three, and I ended with I think like 23 points, and it was just nice because like I was not thinking at all. I just was playing my game, and I was happy about that. But just recently we won on a buzzer beater to St. Peter's, so that was a really fun game for us.
Hmm. That sounds
Hmm.
23 and a D1. That's crazy.
Yeah,
All
I was
right.
happy.
Well, that's all the questions I have for you. I just want to say thank you for coming on and
Of
sharing
course.
your side of the story or how
Hmm.
your experiences are playing D1 basketball. You're the
Yeah.
probably the only D1 athlete we're going to end up getting. We got a lot of D3, D2 former athletes, so you're probably the only D1 athlete we're going to interview. So, thank you for
Well, I'm
showing
glad
us
I
the
could help.
different aspect of D1 sports.
Hmm.
And to everyone watching, thank you and have a great night.